What's up guys, welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today we're going to be doing a little build, some rebuilding you could say. So what we're doing is that we're getting the old villager houses, and the idea is that we kind of expand on them and like redesign them, but also try and keep its vanilla kind of like look and shape. I've seen videos of other people do this with these houses, but they always look a bit like, I don't know, they always look a bit too different. So you can never really tell that, oh, that was actually a villager house at one point. So yeah, so with the first one we have this little like hut, and I'm not going to try and change it too much, but I am going to start with adding just a little step up. I'm also going to change the top so it's like that, because I don't really like how they're all facing up. It doesn't really make sense. And actually, I could do that better actually. If I do this and get a spruce slab, it looks a bit more smooth. There we go. Now it looks a bit, it's not exactly like an A-frame roof or anything, but it's a bit more curved. Looks a bit more natural. The middle bit, I think with the middle bit, honestly, I could probably just do it like that. And it still looks somewhat relatively like the original. I do have copies over here so we can see what it looks like. And so far, it's pretty much the same. I think next, I want to add some depth to the window. So usually when I do depth, I usually kind of just add some staircases to the window like that. But you could also get like some spruce, well, I mean, depending on what wood you want to use. I would use spruce in this example. You could add like a little like window frame, I think you could call it like that. That also works. And we could do the same to this side actually, so we'll just do this. There we go. So all of the villager houses, they're not really furnished. Like this one actually does have a table, but it's not really furnished inside. So another goal for this video is to try and make these houses actually livable. And my idea of livable is having a crafting table, a furnace, and a bed, and if I can find it, a chest. And I chose these 4 blocks because I feel like this is kind of what you need in just any Minecraft house. These are kind of like the key like starter utilities, I suppose you could say. I'm also going to grab a torch, and I'll try and fit a lantern in here. I think it was a lantern. It looks a bit out of place. I feel like a torch might just be better like that. Regarding the floor, we are going to get rid of that immediately, and perhaps we could replace it with, honestly, spruce. I think spruce. We can go with some stripped spruce. Change it up a little bit. So we're still keeping that brown floor like it was dirt. And now we need to try and fit these 4 blocks. So I don't really want to expand on the house itself, since doing that, again, it kind of refrains from the original shape. I might do it depending on what building it is, but it is a bit more challenging like this. So I think we're just going to do that like that. Could have... this might be a bit difficult. Actually, no, wait, I have an idea. Spruce slab. Put that there. Boom, chest. So now this house is what I would deem quote unquote livable. So you have your utilities, bed if you need to sleep, and I do kind of want to add more, to be honest, so maybe we'll try and add a bit more depth. There we go, that's looking alright. We could also decorate the outside a little bit. I always like to add a little table at the front of my houses, and then maybe add like a plant pot. We could add a new decorated pot as well. Just add it like that, and it just kind of brings a bit more life into the build. And put that one there, so it looks like a little tree. There we go. And that's already looking quite good, I think. So this house is reasonably done already. I don't really want to expand on it anymore. However, what I think I will do is just edit the base a little bit. I don't really like how the base is too flat and it just doesn't really blend, so I always like to add a bit more depth like that to my bases. And I think since we're doing that, I may as well move this. Quickly move this out of the way. And what we can do is we can actually put the table up here now. We can put a pot there, ooh, pot there. Maybe put a pot here as well. Actually, we'll put that there. Looks a bit more spread it out. We're trying to add a fence actually as well. I always like to add like, I don't know, like the small details. So what I'll usually do sometimes is add a little fence around my builds. And it just kind of like, I don't know the right word. I guess depth could be the right word. It makes it a bit more like, I don't know, personal I suppose. But yeah, I think that will be done for the first house. Now for the next house, it's a bit bigger than the previous one. And it actually has an upstairs as well, I guess you could call it. So we're going to try and decorate that as much as we can. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plan ahead a little bit. And this time I'm actually going to do the base first, so we have that out of the way. I also don't really like how, again, all of these buildings were made years ago, so I don't even know if you were able to place logs sideways when these came out. But we're gonna just update it and just do that to all the sides, and it does look a bit more accurate. I don't really want to get rid of the cobblestone pillars, but I might have to, just because it kind of blends in too well. I don't know, we'll come back to that. The next is a door, obviously, and I'm going to do the same trick where you place it inside and it does look a bit like, again, depth. Depth is a big thing. And we're going to do this again. Do this to the windows. I think this time we'll do double stairs on the windows when doing any overhangs. And this house is supposed to be some sort of like watchtower, but I'm gonna just try and make it livable again as well. So first thing I'm gonna do is get rid of the floor. It's not very cozy, and this time I'm gonna go with spruce planks. There we go, quite nice. And we have a bit more space to work with this time, so I'll try and fit in some extra blocks. This time let's put that there. Try and fit a double chest if I can. I suppose that works. What is it? Predicaments. I have an idea. I'm gonna get rid of this wall, put it over the bed. Actually, no, that doesn't work. Let's fix this already. So, I didn't want to expand on the building. That is kind of one of the challenges I suppose I've set for myself. Don't try and expand too much from the main building. I did want to try and decorate up here though without the use of a chest though. I was actually kind of thinking I would use, where is it, a barrel for up here, just because I thought a barrel would kind of suit it. I don't know, what I'm envisioning is some sort of tower, so you'd have your bow and arrow, you put your arrows in here, that kind of thing. But we're going to get rid of these fences here. Fence gate. Put that like that, and I think I'm just going to put one in the middle, so it's not floating as much. That looks quite nice, I think. I'm struggling with the storage situation, and I figured I could put just one chest, and then what I could do is place barrels like that instead of spruce. I do use this technique, like using barrels as building blocks, because I quite like how they look like planks, but they also have this like rail around the side. I think that kind of works. So there is now a lot of storage in here now, so I think that is somewhat done with the livable standard. And last time we went with spruce fences, but I'm going to keep to the oak fence theme with this one, and I'm going to add another fence around it, just like so. There we go, that looks quite nice. The front is looking a bit flat. I don't really want to add any pots to the front of this one again, because it's some sort of tower. So I was thinking maybe what I could probably add is like a lantern hanging off the side, or something of the sort, and I thought maybe just like that might work. It's nothing fancy. It does look a bit odd though, but we'll go with it for now. What I've just thought is that maybe we could actually have the logs going up like that. Yeah, I think that looks alright, and we can still have the fence around. It just makes it look a bit more, I want to say, bulkier. Yeah, I don't know if we could add anything else to this, to be honest. What I haven't thought is actually making the cobblestone maybe mossy, so I would quite like to add that, because I feel like realistically you're going to have a bit of moss in the, you know, with how much cobblestone there is. And we also have some mossy cobblestone stairs, which is quite nice. We can use that. It looks a little bit old, I think that looks quite good actually. And I suppose if it's some sort of tower, we could add a little target, maybe, right of it. There we go. That's not too bad, I suppose. So you have like a little garden on the right where you can shoot. I think realistically they would be further, but for the sake of space, and I can't be bothered to move it, I'm just going to place it like that. And yeah, I think this house is also finished. So I did actually put the well on the row, just because I thought maybe we could give it a little twist or something. And I hate how blocky it is, so one thing I do want to do is, let's grab some cobblestone. And we're also going to use some mossy cobblestone, of course, because it is such a nice variety. And I think the first thing I want to do is just, I'm going to start off with cobblestone first, and I'll put in the mossy later. But we're going to add a little bit of shape to the roof, I suppose, of this well. And we could do it like that. Yeah, that works quite nice. And what's always bothered me about this well is that mobs, and even the player, you can get stuck in it. I mean, yeah, the player can mine out, but mobs always get stuck in. So what I actually want to do is, I kind of want to make it like a walkthrough kind of well. Or maybe what we could do is add some slabs, like so. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to make the base not so square. Well, it's going to be square, but not so just bulky. Can't even walk up it. There we go, now we can actually walk up it. To be fair, what we could do is, I quite like how that looks. There we go. I don't know, there's something quite grand about that. There we go, I think that's quite nice. It is a little bit different from the original, but I think it somewhat retains most of its original shape and form. I mean, we haven't actually gone outside of the perimeter. We've gone a slab high, but that's about it. Regarding the fence posts, I think they can probably stay the same. And I guess all that we need to do is add some moss to it. And there we go, I've added some moss to it, and the sun is going down, so I'm going to quickly sleep. And yeah, there's the well. So I think the well's looking quite good. I think it does retain its original form. It's a little bit different visually, obviously, but I think it works, and I actually quite like how you can actually walk in and get out of it now, so that is a problem solved. So the next building we have now is the library, and the library is actually, well, I would say I could make it livable, but it is a library, so I'm thinking maybe what we could do is decorate it a bit more to actually look like a library. I mean, it does have books, I'll give it that, but it doesn't look very, like, full. So I think our job is to try and make it a bit more lively, and we'll see how it goes. So the first thing we have to do, I think, is the roof, because the roof is, as you can see, flat, and I love doing overhangs on roofs. So we're gonna just add a simple overhang. And what we might actually do, we'll start off with oak, and if we don't like how it looks, we can always change it. I was gonna say we could do a spruce overhang, like a lip. We'll see how it goes. There we go. It's already looking quite nice as well. Adding an overhang can fix your buildings quickly. Like, I absolutely love doing an overhang. What is next is the window. I'm going to add some stairs there. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add some trapdoors. I'm going to see if spruce work. I don't know if spruce stands out too much. Okay, there we go. We'll go with oak for now, since it is an oak village. And what we're going to do now is add a stair there, so it doesn't look so weird. And I think we're going to again do the little, make the base a bit wider. There we go, that's looking quite nice already. I think I'm also going to add a little fence around this one as well. And we're going to see how I can add this. Oh, that's going to be an odd number. Yeah, that's fine. I should probably also do these windows. There we go. And we'll add a trapdoor. Some little window shutters here as well. There we go. So there we go, we've added some window shutters, given the wall some depth, added a overhang and a little fence and a little base to make it wider. So I think for the majority the outside is somewhat done, and I think what's next is the inside. So I'm going to do the door thing again, depth, that looks quite nice I think. And the inside does not have any torches, that's weird. So I think the first thing we're going to do is add a lantern, because we haven't used a lantern yet, and I really want to use some of like the newer blocks, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to remove that and that, get rid of this, and I'm basically going to just get rid of everything and refurbish the inside. I do want to keep some of the seats, so we're going to see how that works. I think just going around the windows is honestly quite a good framework. There we go. And what we can do is we can add that, and there is still some seating if people want to read. I mean, to be honest, that is a bit small. There we go. I think that's better. And what I can do here is I'll add a lectern there facing the window. That looks quite good. And perhaps maybe a little table, just like so. There we go, I think that's looking good already. I think I put a lantern right in the middle of the room. That is perfect. So what I actually like to do is add some of the new blocks which we can use in this. There we go, chiseled bookshelf. So we can use one there. What kind of sucks is that it doesn't line up, but we'll ignore that for now. And what's nice about this block is that you can actually add books like that. So what we can do is just maybe here we can add a couple books like that. Maybe here as well. Places where, because this block doesn't have sides, so places where it can kind of blend in. That kind of works. I'd honestly put one here as well. There we go. I think this is looking great. And so far, this is our library, and I think it's coming on along quite well. I do want to add a painting, and what I'm going to do is just add this one. Will do. Oh, get it? Just add that there, so the wall has some decor. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the floor spruce, since I don't think cobblestone is suiting it very well. And regarding the insides of the library, I think it is probably done. I don't think we can really add much else. This one's not supposed to be livable. I'm gonna keep it as a library. And I think the last thing we can probably do is just add some moss to the outside. And there we go. The library is now finished. And I think we did a pretty good job actually with improving it. It's still, you can tell it's still a library. We have the original one behind it, so we haven't removed anything really. We've just kind of added upon, which is kind of what I wanted to do. And I think so far this is going well. So for the next building is this big house, and I've had to move it out of the way because I feel like this one might be a bit I don't know, we're gonna do a lot to it, I feel. And there we go, we've already added an overhang, and it's looking so much better already. Literally an overhang can do wonders. And I think what's next is we're going to do our same little trick where we just add a little platform. There we go. And while we're doing the outside, I may as well add the mossy cobblestone here and there. There we go, so it's looking a bit out of date, I suppose. Well, that might not be the right word, but it looks aged, that's the idea. I think we could probably also add a little fence to this one. Just like this. And there we go, we've added a little fence around, so that looks quite nice. Now, what we're going to do is the inside, and the inside doesn't have any, or much lighting. Okay, these are blocks, so we can actually get rid of these. There we go, so I've widened the roof up a bit more, so there's a bit more space, it's not so tight. And these are stairs, so I can't get rid of those. And I was actually thinking we can just probably just do this to the roof. There we go, I think that looks quite good. And what all this does is it just adds a bit more texture to the roof instead of it just being so blocky. And what's also quite nice is that the middle is still available for us to place blocks. So what I'm actually thinking is that we can get some lanterns and chains. And maybe we can just put one there, and over here we can probably just put maybe a torch. Well, actually that might be enough actually, I think. Now for the decor. So this is going to be very easy to decorate, and what I think we'll be able to do as well is add some extra blocks. So I do want to split it up, so maybe we'll have the bed over there. This area I was thinking could be the kitchen, so maybe we can just put that for there for now, and maybe over here can be the crafting table. I just want to split the house up, so obviously it's so big, so I want to add different areas. I think for the kitchen what we can probably do is put that like that, and we're going to get a smoker. Put that like that. And what I like to do with my kitchens is I'll usually grab, not the grindstone, I'll usually grab a certain block. So for example, we're going to go with stone this time, and I like to put, if it's next to a wall, I'll put a full block, but if it's on the end, I'll add like a little overhang. And I think that just looks quite nice. What we're also going to do is we're going to add a little floor around the kitchen area. And then I was thinking maybe in the middle somehow, let's get rid of that first. Maybe in the middle we can somehow fit a table and chair. And I think we can just probably do... It does look a bit tight to be honest, but I think it might work. Or maybe what we can actually do is move it like that. And now it's in line with the wall. Move the bed like that, which is easy. Chest is probably fine where it is. Or actually what we can do is move that like that. And what I actually wanted to do is I wanted to do another wall chest. Just like that. And I think that works quite nice. The bed is kind of open, and I did kind of want to separate that. So I think what we're going to do with this is add a little privacy wall. So we're just going to place some doors. Ooh. There we go. Now it's all facing the same way. And we can just do this. There we go. And if you want to go like an extra step, we could probably just place some banners in the way. That looks quite nice. And now this bit is a bit more secluded. Add a little carpet around. And we could probably also put a bookshelf there. And then we have this little area where you can sleep, do whatever. Kitchen I think is coming across quite nice. And I'm going to show you a little crafting table trick I like to do. I like to add, I would usually do it with one crafting table, but we've got an odd predicament here with that. Maybe there's a block we can use. We're going to put a beehive because it looks like a drawer. So this is a little workstation, I suppose. And I don't know, you could probably put something on the wall like item frames with tools or something. I can't really think of anything to put, to be honest with you. But I did just see that, and we could probably put that there. There we go. So we've got a brewing stand in this house as well. And I think this house is honestly quite nice. I'm quite happy with how it looks. It was empty before, so we were quite, you know, open to the imagination, but it does look quite good, and we haven't really gotten rid of any of the blocks, so yeah. So I would say with this house is a pretty good job well done, if I can even say that right, or if that's even a saying, whatever. But yeah, this house is pretty good. It's very cozy inside actually, I'm quite happy with it. And yeah, the next one is the blacksmith. So if you haven't already guessed what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is to add another little platform thing. But this time I don't think I'll add a fence. I don't think it will look good on the blacksmith. And that's just because the front is very open and I kind of want to keep it open. Or if I was going to add a fence, I suppose I could add it around this bit here, but I'll think about it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to add an actual anvil because it's a blacksmith. And we're also going to get rid of the furnaces and add a blast furnace because again it's a blacksmith. And what I just want to do with this is just add that so it looks a bit more deep. I'm also going to add a hole there so it looks like it's actually going up somewhere, and that will come into use later, this little hole. This bit I'm going to add a slab as well so it's a bit more open. And there we go, I think that's already looking quite good. This bit I kind of want to keep as it is, or maybe what I should do, just have it like that. Wait, I think they can connect to walls. They can, so we're going to add this as a wall instead. But maybe not down here. Yeah, that looks good. So we've already kind of changed up the front, and I think it looks quite good already, if I do say so. For some reason, blacksmiths never spawn with doors. I don't understand what Mojang they think. Like, I don't get what they think when they make these buildings, because even the other house over there, those ones don't spawn with doors, and I don't get that either. And we're going to add some depth to the windows again. And what I've just kind of realized is that with that house, I didn't really add any depth to the windows, but the thing is with these windows was that they were quite flat already. I mean, I suppose I could have added like cobblestone stairs there. That does look quite nice actually. Oh, and up here I suppose I could have added a stair there and whatever. So I'm just kind of thinking what we can actually do with this, because it is quite an odd building, and I don't really want to get rid of any of the major features. The inside is a bit small, so I don't actually know if I want to make this livable or not. Yeah, I suppose I should. We'll see how it goes though. So I think the perfect place to place a bed would be there. It's literally perfect. I feel like a crafting table is pretty good here. And a furnace there maybe? Place the chest over here. Yeah, I suppose that works. It's a bit crowded though. Well, actually, you know what I will do? I will do this. How does that look on the outside? I suppose it does look a bit weird. Actually, no, you know what? It does look quite nice actually, because it lines up with that. We'll keep this. This is definitely 100% intentional. And we'll add that. And what we can do here is add. We'll make these smokers. What does that look like? Okay, maybe not smokers. So we're gonna keep it like that, I think, just because. Why not? And I'm gonna do a little trick that I do with most of my other buildings. So what I like to do is I like to grab like a campfire, or you can just light a fire as well. That also works. Yeah, there we go. This is our little cooking area. What is next? Well, we just got rid of the bed, and I needed that. So maybe with the bed, we'll place the bed here. There we go. And it is still, this is livable, I would say. This works. And we're just gonna add, we can add a lantern. We'll add a lantern there. There we go. So there's quite a lot of light, because this also produces light. So we have a good light source. We've got our essentials. And down here, what I usually do is I would add like a smoker. There we go. We have a little smoking area down there. So we've got all 3 furnaces, which is quite nice. And I think that is the inside done. Now at the top, what I wanted to do is actually add a little chimney. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this, but we're going to make it up on the way, I suppose. I think using walls looks quite good. It kind of gives it some curve. And what we can do as well is if we get the campfire, we can just place that like that. And there we go. That can be our little chimney. But maybe if we add a slab. There we go, so it gives it a little bit of a finish. So there we go, there's our chimney. I think that, honestly, this might be our blacksmith done. I'm quite liking how it came out. It's definitely, you can definitely tell it's a blacksmith. And again, that's the whole point, that you can tell. But yeah, I'm not actually gonna add any moss to this one because I feel like with the blacksmith it looks too good. It looks it looks too good. So yeah, that's it. So for the next house, we have this. I don't actually know what this is. People said it's a butcher's house. People say it's a Fletcher's house or whatever. I have no clue what this house is, but I think we're just gonna treat it as well, I don't know, because we have the blacksmith, we have the librarian. You know, we'll turn it into a butcher's, why not? We're gonna go with that route. And if we're gonna turn it into a butcher's, I'm gonna first add an overhang, like every other building. There we go. And this time we're gonna add some depth to the windows by doing that. And we're also going to do the same to the other side. Now, we're going to do the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of the planks, because if it's a butchery, I want it to be quote-unquote clean. So we're going to add... And we're also going to get rid of that for now. And I think I'm just going to make this roof a bit more... Again, give it some detail, not so blocky. There we go. It just makes it a bit more like bigger as well, so that's quite nice. And I'm gonna add a lantern. I'm gonna get rid of these torches. We'll add a lantern there. Add a lantern there. It looks a bit off, but we'll work with it for now. Okay, so I just searched up. Apparently, the smoker is the butcher's choice of block. So we're not gonna have a smooth stone worktop. We're gonna have a smoker worktop instead. Like that. And okay, so I'm trying to think of things off the spot, and the only thing I can think of is get some netherrack and a trapdoor and just make it look like there's meat that's ready to be smoked or whatever. I'm struggling a little bit. I don't really know how to do it, butchers, but hey ho. We are going to get through it. I think barrels is probably a good choice. Just because, I don't know, I feel like it makes sense. If we had a barrel there, maybe another barrel here. There we go. Back is going to be easy, because for the back, I was simply just going to put a oak log border, like that. And I think that's it. I don't think I want to do anything else to the garden apart from that. I mean, I suppose I could put a fence gate. A little fence gate like that. In the middle. There we go. I just thought of putting a cauldron maybe instead. And that adds a bit more of a difference. Well, actually, what I could do is put that there. Put the cauldron there instead. And easy little simple trick you can do, just get a tripwire, boom, you have a tap. And I think honestly this is probably it for the butchers. I don't think we can really add much else. For the outside, I mean, you can't really tell it's the butchers. But again, like, I don't know how else we can really do that. I think I'll go with the border around the building again, but I'm not gonna add a fence again. Yeah, I guess the butchers is just gonna be how it is. I'll do that so it does look a bit different. Why didn't I think of this before? We could add a chimney. There we go. So I'll show you a little trick we can do with the chimney. Trapdoor, spruce, spruce, boom, boom. Spruce, spruce, boom, boom. Wall, slab. And then if you look from far away, actually, might be worth putting a block there. Well, it depends how you want to do your chimneys. I sometimes do the walls or just full blocks. But now it has a really crappy little chimney. So, yeah, there we go. This is the butcher's, I suppose. It's not much different, I'm afraid, but we'll just have to work with that, I suppose. Finally, what we have now is the church, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move it out of the way because it is way too close to that other building. Okay, so I've moved it out the way, and now we can actually build with it. So for the church, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, to be honest. I did think of adding like a bell tower, but I mean the top is used to like look over, it seems, so I kind of want to keep that kind of idea. The indoor is nothing like a church, so I think that's the first thing we're going to actually do. I did want to make it so you can sit down and there'll be a lectern at the front and, you know, a guy would be talking. So I suppose let's go along with that idea. Place a lectern. Have some chairs. Does that work? I guess that kind of works. Yeah, that works. Ladder's not really doing us any favours, but we'll just have to work with that, I suppose. And what we can do here, let's get rid of that. Add some stairs, give it some curve. Boom. And it's looking good already. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to get rid of these torches and add a lantern, so that looks a bit nicer. And regarding the insides, I don't really know if I can really add much else because it is a little basic, but I suppose that's kind of the point. I'll do that though. Actually, no, I don't know. I quite like how that looks. For the outside's a little bit weird because the way the church is built, it feels like it's been built up in the air. Like, I don't know if this is supposed to be in the ground and that's supposed to be level with the ground or what, but well, I think what we'll do is we'll even it out like so. And I want to give it like a little platform, and what you can do is just add stairs like that. And I think that looks quite nice. I think what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to add some coloured panes because I don't really like how... Ooh. So there you go, we've already changed the windows, we've added some extra depth to it, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to do my classic trick of just adding stairs to the windows. So there we go, we've added some stairs to the sides, and I think what we're going to do now is I have the idea of using a wall just to kind of fill that gap in. It looks a bit empty, so that's why I'm using the wall. It gives it a bit more curve, and it's not a full block, so it's not so blocky. Over here though, I think I'll just use stairs for this bit. I was going to use slabs, but I don't think the slabs will really give us the same effect. What about that though? Does that look nice? No, I'll keep it like that. Actually no, I should do it like that really, shouldn't I? How should I do it, like that? Yeah, that works, actually, yeah. I'll put a wall there. This bit, could add a wall like this, I suppose. And maybe when it gets to here. Yeah, I suppose that looks right. And what I actually wanted to do is, I wanted to add little side pillars. Most churches I've seen, they have these little things on the side. I don't actually know what the right term is. But I just like how it looks. Like that. There we go. I think the back's probably fine, don't need anything there. And what I didn't realise is that this isn't... This is being annoying. Uh-oh. This is one thing I hate about stairs, is that if you place it like that, it just automatically connects. And you know what? It looks nicer. So there we go. Now, for up here, the churches usually spawn with a brewing stand. Why, I don't know. But I suppose we'll stick to it, and we're going to add a cauldron and a brewing stand. And I'm just going to add another lantern up here as well. There we go. And maybe in the corner what we could actually do is, if we get some soul sand, some nether wart, and another trapdoor, we can make a little planter of nether wart. Now for the top floor, I don't really think it's worth making anything on the top floor, to be honest with you. I mean, we could add walls like that. Or does that look weird? I was honestly thinking we add slabs, and then what we'll do is we'll place slabs like that. And now it kind of differentiates from the wall here. I mean, from the top, you can kind of see over still. But I mean, if you really wanted to combat that, just do this. There we go. You can still see over everything. In fact, you know what? I think that looks quite good. So now it's not as blocky. You can still see over everything. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. And there's our church, and I think we did quite a good job actually of making the church. I'm quite pleased with the outcome. I'm really glad I put these, because this adds so much more depth than it originally had. And I don't know, I absolutely love it, and I like what we've done with the inside. I suppose if what you could do is just add like a little carpet down the middle. There you go. Add a little bit of decor. Another lantern there. And there we go, guys. We have completed making every single old school village house and remaking it in modern day Minecraft. I wanted to try it again. The goal of this video was I wanted to try and keep as much of the old building as I could without destroying any of it. I've seen a lot of these videos being done, and people completely, I want to say, take it out of proportion, and they just kind of make it almost unrecognizable. But my goal was to try and keep as much as I could faithful to the original building, not destroy much, and try and keep the same block palette. Like, as you can see, I kept a lot of the oak because it's an oak village, and you know, I want to keep that. Apart from this little house here, I did use spruce, but I thought, I don't know, the spruce kind of worked with this one. But yeah, sorry for the low energy of this video, guys. I'm not feeling very well recently. I know I haven't been uploading much. I'm just kind of experiencing a little bit of a downfall right now. But hey, we move on. But if you guys like this video and you guys like building videos, I'm happy to do some more like tutorials or something like that. Quickly flying around my world. I mean, I didn't make this stuff here, but I did make like a whole other flipping town over here. So if you guys are interested in like building skills or just tips and tricks, leave a comment and a like, and I'll be sure to make more videos like it, because I like building. It's calming. And if you guys want to tour this world, be sure to mention that as well, because this world is absolutely huge. So yeah, but if you guys like the video, I would appreciate that, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.